It's Masters Week. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Tavern.
Yeah.
I think he's back to form. He fell off a little bit last year, but he also was named Ryder Cup captain.
Give me Steve Bradley.
Hey, it is Masters Week.
It is.
How is
Masters
everybody
Week.
doing? Cheers.
It's Masters Week.
I'm crying a little
great.
tear tonight, and so in honor of things being underwater.
Oh man, hey, I went through a tornado last week, so
Yeah,
after the show. That next day was pretty bad by my house.
yeah.
I don't know. We had like Chamber of Commerce weather here this weekend, so I got out and got to play at Disney. I played the Magnolia now that it's reopened. All the holes are open now. They did some renovation out there. So if you've played Disney's Magnolia in the past, it's a entirely new experience once you get to holes 14, and 14 through 17 are now called Grumpy's Gauntlet. And I will tell you, 14 is a beast of a par 4. 15 is a great dogleg right par 5. 16 might be the best hole on Disney property now. I could go out on a limb and say that. It is an incredible par 4.
Really?
Dogleg left, water down the left-hand side, waste bunkers, incredibly undulated green. And then you get to 17, this par 3 that from the back tees they can stretch 235. It played on Sunday when we were out there. We played it 1 up. It was playing like 180 and great hole. And then 18 obviously is 18 is 18 out there. They haven't really changed that, but that golf course is unbelievable. And if you get a chance, you're down the Orlando area, you got to get out and play it. It's really that good of a golf course now. It's so awesome now. I want you guys to both come down so we can go play it. It's that fun.
I mean, I had to play it in January, and it was fun with the little kind of par 3s that they kind of put together, which was very interesting. But I saw 16 and how it was going to look, and it looked amazing because it was done.
Yeah,
you were just playing at the end of the par 3, so it's going to be
going to be
nice.
It's unbelievable. So good weekend there, getting to play.
A couple guys in January played the Palm and said for Hawkeye Cup we need to get the Palm or the Mag into our rotation.
Dave, if you guys should play the Mag. I'll be honest with you. It's always been my favorite course there, but now after the redo and now those holes are open, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you know where I got to play the last 2 days.
Yeah, I know. Our text group has been filled with pictures. Jerk.
I will say, I have to say this though. This is my first round. I've been stuck in bad weather in the Midwest. I got to play some golf in January, but haven't really gotten to play much. Now we're into April, and this is my first round out in my golfish attire. I have to say, use the Golfing Dads promo code for 15% off. These shirts are amazing. I'm out here in the heat and just was like I wasn't even sweating in these shirts. They're the most comfortable shirts I've ever worn on the golf course. So get yourself some of these golfish shirts right now because it was unbelievable.
Hey, we lost Steve and you became more clear.
We did. I know. Well, that's why, because we don't hear Steve yelling in the background anymore. So
no,
we can keep him off a little bit.
Yeah, we did our men's league draft last week, and I had the golfish stuff out there with me, and hopefully a couple people really enjoyed it. So yeah, that discount code is out there for everyone to use, much like ours for Desert Fox.
Yeah, use the Golfing Dads and get 15% off at golfish.com and get yourself some amazing apparel.
Yep.
And I'm wearing it tomorrow at Augusta.
How's the weather look for Augusta?
Hey, Bradley, go ahead. Bradley, I'll beat you to that one. Drink.
Yeah.
Hey, come on for that one. It's worth it.
Yeah.
So the weather
I
tomorrow actually
know.
is going to be pretty cool. So
Yeah. I
And
feel
you're
bad
meeting
for
up with-
everybody on Monday, but kudos for Augusta for taking everybody's safety in the golf course into consideration, and then B, allowing those people that had Monday tickets this year to purchase them for next year.
big. That's a
Greg,
big kudos to Augusta for that.
Two things, Greg. So you're meeting up with a couple of our past guests tomorrow at Augusta, which will be fun for you. Expectation is we see pictures posted later of that. But also, I got in the mail today something. We've been talking with the guys from T-Box Dice, and I got some T-Box Dice. So next time we come down, this game, you can roll these dice, decide which T-marker you're playing. So this is the men's. I have the pro version. So next time we get on the golf course, we definitely have to have Dave go back and play the back tees with the dice. Sorry, Dave.
Back tees, forward tees. It's really not going to matter to my score. It's still going to be high.
True. Well, hey, let's hop in the first round.
First round.
Yeah. Alrighty. So our friends at Desert Fox Golf, they're proud to announce that Desert Fox Golf has the perfect product to celebrate the 2025 NCAA men's basketball champions, the Florida Gators. Just like the Gators, their gear delivers top-tier performance on and off the course. Congrats, champs. Now let's tee it up in style. Not a Gator fan? There are over 24 more schools available at desertfoxgolf.com. And don't forget to use our code GolfingDads to lick your wounds after a busted bracket.
We lost Greg. Oh, there he is.
Absolutely.
Speaking of brackets, did anyone see on ESPN somebody picked a women's bracket? They picked 63 of the 64 games.
Yep, they lost one in the first round.
Unbelievable. Really?
I mean, that's a bucket list thing to try to get a perfect bracket in any of them out there. This year you had the all number one seeds, I think.
Yeah,
with all the NIL and transfer portal, it's going to be tougher to see that Cinderella moving forward. So,
yeah,
correct.
All right, my
Steve,
women's bracket. Yeah.
So I want to start. We're going to talk Masters all night tonight, and I want to start. And we're going to start with the women's AM, and what an amazing event that and the drive, chip, and putt are. But there was a comment that was posted on social media, and I feel like we're back in that Charlie Hull comment. About that guy that said he was a 4 handicap and he could be the leading money winner on the LPGA Tour. I'm not certain this wasn't the same idiot that posted this, and he said, I'm a 1.4 handicap and my driving distance is 287 yards on average. And I would be looking at sand wedge, pitching wedge, and lob wedge into most of those greens. 5 of the par 4s would be drivable for me. The most I'd hit into the par 5s would be a 4-iron. I could easily shoot 67 on that golf course yesterday.
So here's the thing. It's set up for women. It's not set up for a 280-yard 1.4 handicapper.
Right.
I'm going to take – okay, here's the first problem. He did what Bryson did and made the golf gods angry, so he's not breaking 90. We're just going to call it that.
That's also true.
Yeah.
There is – and he's not even taking into account the greens and the slope on those greens and the speed of those greens and the fact that even as a 1.4, you've got no chance. You won't break 90. You won't.
You still got to chip and putt there. You still got to do all of that stuff. But
miss a green. Good luck. Good luck.
I do believe
you still have to get out of your mind that you're and you still have to get out of your mind that you're playing Augusta. It's one thing for a pro.
Let me ask you guys this.
Yeah.
So Dave and Steve, we both walked up 10. We walked Augusta. You see it on TV and you actually walk the course. That's night and day. Like,
oh yeah.
You don't realize how much undulation is on that course.
Yeah, TV does not do that course justice at all. And I do not, anybody that ever goes to Augusta, do not walk up 10. Don't do it.
That's a bad mistake.
You know what? I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago. I was coaching Luke's soccer team, and a guy had a Masters hoodie on, and I was like, oh, I like your hoodie. And he was like, thanks, I'll be there in a couple weeks. I said, you going for the week? And he goes, yeah, I go for the week every year. And I'm like, I'm jealous. He goes, he goes, have you been? And I said, yeah, I went in 23. We were at the Wednesday. And I said something about walking up 10. We were joking. And he said, no, you don't want to do that. I've done it. And you don't want to do that.
I was talking to people today about it, that they're going tomorrow with me. And I said, oh, yeah, we're not making the mistake of walking up 10 this time. They go, why the hell would you do that? I go, because we took a wrong turn and didn't realize where we were.
Correct. And then we just kept going.
Yeah, it's just the TV, whatever you see on TV and whatever you think you are as a golfer, unless you're doing it on a professional or an amateur basis, trying to become a professional. No.
No is right.
I think the best way to visualize it on TV is when you see these guys in the bunker and the sand is above their head when they're trying to hit out. Like, that's how high they're hitting, but you don't realize that with the camera angles.
No.
Yeah. It's one thing, there's other courses out there that are open to the public that you can get on and play. You can go to Bethpage. You could go to St. Andrews. You can go and play Pebble. And those courses, having, I've not been on any three of those. Greg, you've been to at least two of those, I believe. St. Andrews. You haven't been to Bethpage?
Mm-hmm. I've watched Bethpage for the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I've been to St. Andrews.
What's up,
St. Andrews. But I think that those courses TV does those courses justice in the way those courses are laid out. Whereas Augusta and the way that they monitor and have the TV and the camera angles, it just, until you do it, until you're there and you're in person, just nothing compares.
No.
Yeah, I'll tell you from Bethpage's standpoint, Bethpage, you cannot, you can tell on TV that there's a lot of hills and slopes to a point, more than you can at Augusta. At Augusta, you can't tell on TV how much undulation is there, but Bethpage, at least you can tell a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, the one moment I remember at Augusta vividly was when we walked out, we stored our merchandise that we bought, and we walked over to one, and there's this big dip in one. And I looked at you, Greg, and I was like, where'd this come from? Is this new? Like you don't see that. And until you've been there, you start to see it on TV, because you don't see that on TV. The one thing that Augusta does better than any other golf course is they have found the perfect camera angle on every hole where they put the cameras, and they pull you in and they suck you into every shot and every hole. And they do it better than anybody else.
So, getting back to our original tangent where we started, your 1.4 handicap at Augusta doesn't go anywhere.
No.
They interviewed a bunch of Masters winners, and they asked him what a 15 handicap would shoot under tournament conditions out there. And every single one of them said they wouldn't break 100.
Oh, no chance. Like, under tournament conditions out there, with the undulation, with the way the greens go, like, if you know anything about this course and just the system they have under the grass at this course, under the greens, to dry it out, keep it as green as it is.
Yep.
It's probably one of the most pure places that you're ever going to play. And there's not a flat place on this course. So putting, good luck. Like, come on.
When that tree came down the other year, if you saw that tree come down and watched that on TV, it was 23. It was the year we were there.
The year it was okay.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember,
because we walked past that area. You saw it on TV. You saw the damage. You saw the tree come down. And if you watch the TV coverage the next day, it's like that tree never existed there.
Well, did you hear the Phil Mickelson story, by the way? The story Phil told at Live Miami last week, where they asked him what was the craziest thing he's ever seen at Augusta, and he said he was playing in a practice round out there, and they were on 11. No, it was just pre-Masters week. He was there, and he was on 11, and a tree fell while they were on the 11th tee. And he said by the time they got back around, and now that we know where 11 is, and you get to like 15 green and stuff like that, he said by the time they got back around to 18 tee, because you can see over to 11, the tree was gone. Gone. Like what? How?
Because they're Augusta National and they do what they want.
Yeah.
I'm going to add a comment.
This
Yeah.
comment right here is probably 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would
I'm
put
gonna add
Iowa
this
Indiana
comment.
over. I'd put
So, Joseph, I will say Victoria National, great course in Indiana. Also, head pro there. Tell him you know me and give him a hard time.
yeah, but I would say I would set the over under for me at 150.
I'm just gonna say this. They should go watch the video that the Orlando golfer posted today to see what a 1.4 handicap would do on the 18th tee. For those of you that haven't, go find the Orlando golfer on social media and go watch the video he posted today about the 18th tee shot at Augusta, and that is what a 1.4 handicap would do there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you stand in these places and you don't realize, like what we said is when you were looking at 16, you don't realize how many other holes are so close to 16 because when you see the camera angles, it's unbelievable. Just the way they do it. Like you're so intimidated by these tee shots that
I think you talk about that, and we were standing on 6T. We're standing there on the 6T, and we look down, and there's 16 to your right.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you're like,
Where did that come from?
Yeah, didn't know that sat
That's
there.
not supposed to be there.
Where? How does that there? And again, it's that whole how they draw you in. The trees hide a lot there, even though they're tall, skinny pines. They hide everything, and they make you feel like you're just in that one moment at Augusta, especially on TV, until you get there and you realize what's going on there. So to me, that is one of the cool things about Augusta National.
All right. I think let's talk about this year. Let's get into happy hour.
Yeah, let's do it.
That was quick.
Yeah, I realized I hit it twice there. I was like, go. And
Yeah. So this year, let's considering what happened Monday, the weather this year for Augusta. Greg, you're looking at a high of 70 tomorrow with 0% chance of rain and a low of 49.
when I get there, it's going to be 50.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go. You got your goldfish.
Thursday-
Hey, you got your goldfish hoodie to wear in the morning?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Thursday, we're looking at 55, 77. Friday's the only iffy day. It's got a 54% chance of rain on Friday, 48, 73. Saturday, 44, 67. And the most exciting day in sports on Sunday, 52, 73. So we're just looking at maybe a little bit of rain on Friday. But other than that, outside of Monday, it looks like a really great week there in Augusta.
Which could make for some fun golf. Because there's not going to be a lot of weather delays. There's not going to be a lot of weather that changes the that you can go after it. It's going to soften the course. This is going to play tough this week.
Yeah. It could dry, if it does get any rain, there on Friday, that could, affect maybe the cut line there on Friday. But, we've talked about just how well they drain that course and everything else. And, it could be maybe a little bit softer on Saturday, but Sunday, that sun comes out there in Georgia on Saturday and dries everything out going into Sunday. It's going to give it a run for its money.
So
the one thing you can talk about. Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say, let me ask you guys this. What's the storyline that you want to see most this week?
Bernhard Longer making the cut.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I'm going to prelude to my pick later. I want the Grand Slam.
I do want to see that. I'd like to see the repeat of Scotty.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this as we talk about those two.
Hayden, that's not going to happen. He's still hyped up from the tournament win last night.
Davis Riley went to Alabama. by the way.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the whole
Billy Horschel. Billy Horschel
Billy
went
Horschel.
to Florida.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My computer's blocking half of that, and so yeah.
Okay. If I gave you Scotty and Rory or the field, who are you taking?
Field.
No, I'm thinking Scotty or Rory.
Wow. Wow. Hot take coming out from Greg. Greg, I'm with you.
Here's the thing. I think both of them right now, Scotty has been, since his hand injury, which, funny enough, they are serving his signature ravioli, how he cut his hand
correct.
originally, tonight. As we are here, they are serving that right now at Augusta.
Scotty's got jokes.
So
he does.
a little odds.
but-
So you said Scotty or Rory. So odds with Dave here. Scotty or Rory to win on the parlay chance is about 2-1 for one of them to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have
Sounds about right.
Scotty and Rory, Scotty and Colin, Scotty and Bryson, Rory and Xander, Rory and Colin, Rory and Bryson, and then you get into and all those only go up to about 4.5 to 1, and then you start getting into some bigger odds once you take Rory or Scotty out of the mix.
So let me give you a really hot take right now that I think could be very interesting. So there's a stat that of the past, I want to say 8 winners, only 2 people haven't been +9 of the field, and going into this major. The only people that are +9 against the field, or +1.9 against the field, right now, are Colin Morikawa, Scotty, Rory, Shane Lowry, and then here's the one I'm going to say about this, because I'm not counting live players because their field is different. Tommy Fleetwood. Imagine if he wins this week.
On American soil.
I'm gonna say this. I don't think Tommy. I think the ballpark's too big for Tommy. I think that if you were to take a major for Tommy Fleetwood to win, I would actually say it would be the Open.
Yeah.
And the reason I think it would be the Open is if you get a firm, fast golf course, it would actually play into his hands because it would keep him in the game at that point. I that Augusta, the fact that every tee shot plays into the green, the fact that he's got to position his golf ball a little differently than everybody else's, because he doesn't have the length. Again, I really want to root for Tommy, and I won't pick him until he wins in America, because the dude's won $25 million in this country without a win.
Yeah. But that's my question here. I'm saying, imagine what it would be like if this is his first win. Like, would it be bigger than Sergio? Bigger than Phil winning the first time and getting over that hump.
Phil had at least one tournaments on U.S. soil.
Yeah, so it's different
at that point in time.
On that sense.
It's different. Yes.
I'm going to go back to the Orlando golfers' comment about Davis, by the way. Only one first-time winner. Only one first-time player has ever won the Masters. That was Fuzzy Zeller. Do I think it could happen this week? I don't. Again, the odds are so stacked against you. Do I think Davis Riley could get a top 15 and get invited back next year? I 100% think that could happen. He's playing really good golf right now.
I really want to see this week a battle of those top players right now. I want to see this fight, a dog fight where they're going neck and neck the whole time and it's up and down. That's what I want to see going in, ending Saturday, going into Sunday. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, I need your opinion on this. I'm going to ask you both this question. The last few years, the talk always coming into the Masters because of the lull in between the majors has been the PGA Tour versus LIV. And there hasn't been as much talk of PGA Tour versus LIV going into this week's Masters. Do you think that will become an underlying story this week? Or do you think that based on wherever we are with these negotiations and the news that broke last week that the PGA Tour shot down, the PIFs whatever they wanted in their fantasy world. Do you think that there will be more talk as we get to Sunday on this, or do you think that it is a non-issue going into this week?
Greg?
So I think this is where we've kind of hit that like, it's old news. For the past few years, it's been the big news going into this. And
Mhm.
I love the Jim Nantz kind of always takes kind of a jab at Liv during the Masters.
I'm waiting for
coverage.
that. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, it's 100%. But I don't think that. I think that bad blood has kind of dissolved itself. I think now it's just, hey, they're coming back. They're playing with Bryson winning the Open last year, the U.S. Open last year. I think that kind of changed that up a little bit. So I don't think there's going to be as much talk about it. I also don't think that there's going to be a lot of strength coming out of Liv playing in this. So you're not going to see that. I think it's going to be like it has been the past few years. It's going to be Bryson, maybe Brooks,
Mhm.
and then Phil might put up a good day or two, but because he always does at Augusta.
I'm going to say this. I do think Phil. Would it surprise me if Phil had a great week? It wouldn't. Again, Nicholas contended there till he was like 64 or something ridiculous, like he was on leaderboards. So that one wouldn't surprise me, Greg. But yeah, 7 of the top 25 guys getting action right now are actually Live golfers. Dave, what's your opinion of it?
I think as players, I don't think they care anymore. I really don't. I think they want it to be done and over. And I think the entire storyline is media driven right now, that they're media is searching for a story. They're searching for a hot take. They're trying to get somebody to say something. And I think the players are done and over it. And they just want to play golf.
I'm beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah. Let them eat cake. Or ravioli, if the case may be.
I mean, fair. Or some good barbecue.
Bone and ribeye.
Yeah.
Bone and
but
ribeye.
It's just, I think, there's going to be, yes, we all wait for the Jim Nantz comment, but I think, in you pair, if Rory and Bryson get paired together on the weekend, somebody's going to make a story out of that and bring up the U.S. Open. But I think between the two of them, they just don't care. They really don't.
But
I will say this. I think Rory
too.
I think Rory wants to punch his face in. I really do. I think Rory wants revenge at this point.
But I agree with that. But I honestly think that if this wasn't a Live PGA thing, if they were both on the PGA and the same thing happened at the U.S. Open, it's the same storyline. It doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
That's where I think this has kind of gotten to.
I think they're just back to everybody. They're just golfers now. They're, it's, still some underlying, they only see each other right now at the majors and potentially at the Ryder Cup. But at the end of the day, it's just like, David Ortiz putting on a Yankees cap during a commercial. You're still a ball player.
It is.
Well, it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. I think I think we've gotten away from this storyline. I think the storyline now is, when's that deal going to get done? I like.
I think
gotten
the
away from
storyline
the
is more if. I think it's if that deal gets done.
Well, yeah,
I think we're
saying.
closer
Like,
to if. I think it's if that
when,
deal gets done, not when.
Yeah.
I think we went from when to now back to if over the past few weeks.
Yes.
So now, who are those outliers that we think, like you said, Langer has an emotional press conference this week about playing in what he thinks could be his last major.
He said it's his last Masters.
Yeah.
And
I will say this. Kudos to Tour Edge for the bag they designed. Oh boy, if you haven't seen that, go check that thing out.
Oh yeah,
that thing was dope.
These are the storylines we love to see here. We know who the honorary starters are. Who's going to tell him?
Thanks
You
for
gonna tell
that,
him? Somebody's got to tell him. Somebody's
Thanks,
got to tell him.
No, I'm not. Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Just leave it.
Somebody's
there.
got
I'm
to
not
tell
even
him.
gonna tell him. We're not even
You're
going to tell
gonna
him. It's not even worth it. No, I'm not going to tell him.
But what's that kind of storyline that you want to see this week?
You want to see Longer play well. You want to see Freddie play well, because Freddie making the cut is always something special. Because he just walks around out there, hits a golf shot, and waves, and keeps on going.
Rolling that mindset.
Yeah,
rolling that mindset. Yeah, yellow. I think what does Ludwig do in his second trip back is going to be a good big storyline.
After he raided Jason Day's closet.
Oh, so funny. Jason Day's closet would have been a storyline. However, Jason Day came out tonight. In fact, that story was on my phone here. Jason Day was asked to tone down outfit choices at the Masters this year by Augusta National.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one storyline out there. How many amateurs make the cut is always a good one. Where does the winner of the par 3 finish?
There's five amateurs in the field.
I think 2 make the cut.
Okay, it's a fair take.
It is always one of those things. It's kind of like I want to go to a game in a baseball game and actually witness a no. I want someone to break the curse of the par 3. That is one of the things I've always wanted to see at Augusta. I want someone to win the par 3 and win the Masters. I want to see that happen. So, hopefully I can see that tomorrow.
How many hole-in-ones we taking on an over-under tomorrow?
What is the Dave? Just give us the line on what that is they have out there.
It should be out there.
I do not have a line on that one.
You don't have there's no line on number of aces on the par 3? I'm shocked by that.
It's got to be somewhere.
Not DraftKings does not have it.
That's also true.
Oh,
Bradley.
All about Daly's loudmouth. Come on. All about the loudmouth.
So DraftKings doesn't have the number of aces and over under on the number of ones tomorrow. That's surprising.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. This is what I think the best pairing is on Thursday.
Oh, here we go.
It's the 112 tee time. Rory,
that's Scotty and Justin. Oh, yeah.
Oberg, and Ashke.
Yeah.
Talk about
I'm going to say this. I think Ashke will win the Masters. Ludwig and Ashke will both win Masters. Both of them. You can as Mike Golick used to say, you can lead pipe lock that one. Like that is
I think all three of them will push each other and they could all be there on Sunday in contention.
Correct.
I think this is going to be that power group this year, right there.
What do you think? Okay, Greg, let's go from the golf course. Let's go to the food. The best item on the menu at Augusta National.
You know what? This is kind of out of left field. I'm going the ice cream sandwich.
Ooh.
Oh God, I'm throwing the hammer on that. No chance.
The ice cream sandwich. Oh, come on, man!
You're throwing pimento cheese out there.
I am putting the pimento cheese. And that egg salad is really good. That egg salad sandwich for breakfast is really good. I'm not gonna lie. I'll take that for breakfast.
That did hit well for you for breakfast that day.
I'm gonna take the Masters Club.
Yeah. I gotta say the moon pie. The moon pie was good too later on in the day.
Yeah.
But that food.
You know what is disappointing? You know what is disappointing though is that they don't really serve food or drinks on the par 3. Like you've got to go back to.
There's no alcohol in the par 3. There's no. It's you got to bring stuff over and be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So,
That was,
Which is funny
if there
because
was
the course
anything
closes at noon.
if there was anything disappointing about Augusta, was that.
But here's the thing: when we were sitting on the par three, did you think about it at all?
No, not once.
I didn't think
I
about
went
it
and got
once.
2 beers for Dave and I at one point.
Yeah.
Dave, you want one? Yeah, I'll go get them. Let's go.
Yeah. But
no.
if yeah, they're and I understand why. You're there for that event, and I didn't miss not having a beer while sitting there in Augusta on the grass watching the par three.
Yeah. What in your mind is the best tradition of the week?
Honorary starter.
Good one. Greg?
I like the best tradition of the week is honoring the low amateur, the amateur who scores the best there. I think keeping that tradition alive with the green jacket and doing that all together in Butler Cabin, I think that is just a great tradition all around.
I'm actually going to say,
can we just say Jim Nance is a tradition?
Unlike any other.
Yes.
I'm going to go and I'm trying to think of the most politically correct way to do this. The children wearing the caddy bibs that may or may not have been made by one of our previous guests at the par three.
What was going to be the unpolitically correct way of talking about caddy bibs?
Saying their name out loud. Saying their name in connotation with that. I know I can't do that.
Well, I mean, that's that. I was going to go the par three, and the families was going to be my other choice. So I think that's a good one too. So one thing I heard today.
Okay.
One thing I heard today is, and this was on the Golf Channel, and they were talking about this. That's what's so special about this golf tournament is it is just a tradition, and I'm going to use the tagline, unlike any other, where this is golf at its most purest form. Like when they talk about changing the game and doing things like this, you're never going to change the Masters. And this is what golf is. This is what golf is about. It's about families. It's about the amateurs. It's about the pros all coming together. And it doesn't matter who you are. You watch the Masters and you watch golf at its purest form. And this is what I want to keep almost sacred in the game is stuff like this. This is what I don't want to change.
I think Augusta gets it right, and Augusta has the ability to get it right. When you're so closed off and you're so private, and it's the place that all of us dream of going at some point, whether you're there as a patron, whether you're there as a, getting a chance. I think our dream, if I asked all three of us our dream when it came to the Masters, it would be to be in the media building for the whole week, and to sit in those press conferences on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and be able to cover the Masters. I think for us would be up there as probably the bucket
media
list.
Playing credentials.
Well, there's that too.
The realistic dream, Dave. Let's talk about the thing that actually possibly could happen versus.
But I think the idea that it is such a special place, and when you talk to, every tour player that I've ever been around, I ask them, is it your favorite spot of the year? And every one of them says yes. It's not even close. When you think about that the tour players respect it that much and they go back there every year, and it either kicks you in the teeth or it rewards you, and it's such a think tank. And you've seen whether it was 2019 when Molinari's ball all of a sudden just balloons up into the wind, and Tiger's sitting there watching it, hits his in the back of the green and 2 putts and makes par, and all of a sudden takes the lead going to 13 in Amen Corner. And whether it's Amen Corner or it's Rory hooking one into the trees on 10 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like it's such something is going to happen, and it's the golf gods always come into effect at Augusta National.
It's such a pure golf course.
Watching somebody hit 3 shots in the Rays Creek on the par 3.
And then go over the tee and say, I got honors, right?
Yeah.
like Jordan did. That story's
Yeah.
still my favorite. I
Yeah.
got the box, right?
Yeah. You know,
But that's what makes this so great.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Is
know,
the 12th hole at Augusta the greatest par 3 in all of golf?
No.
No, it to me is the top of the list, and there's nothing close. I'm just gonna say it. Dave?
it's in top 3.
What are the other two, Dave, in your book?
Pebble and Kiowa.
You're gonna take the Kiowa over 17 at Sawgrass?
Sawgrass is 4.
Wow.
So let me ask you this, Steve. 'Cause this is where I say, like, when you say the best, what's your guidelines for saying it's the best? Because I look at it as, is it one of the most pivotal holes, par threes on any golf course? Yes. I think it
Yeah.
every year 12 comes into play, like how you
Yeah.
play 12. And that's where I think for a tournament hole, great. Visually, it is a stunning and beautiful hole, but all of Augusta
Yep.
is stunning and beautiful.
Yes.
So I just
Right.
think it's a beautiful, I think it's because of the course that
Yeah.
it's there. As for a design, I think they have made it better over the years. If you've watched the growth of that hole,
Progression of it. Yeah.
I think it's unbelievable. Overall design, playable hole for everybody. That's where I don't think it's the best there.
Yeah.
Do I think it's the best for this tournament? Would I put any other hole in that position? Absolutely not.
Nope.
But I don't know that I'd call it the best par 3 that's out there. I don't know what I would. I look at
I think
Sawgrass.
from
I think
a-
that island at Sawgrass is just an unbelievable par 3.
Right. I think the
I
thing
look
where
at Pebble.
yeah, and I'll look at Pebble again. I've said 17 at Sawgrass, 12 at Augusta, and 7 at Pebble are the 3 best par 3s in golf. I will say this: I think 12 fits in because of the way the wind swirls down there in that little bowl that the bottom of Amen Corner sits in, and you can hit a shot where you think you're downwind, and all of a sudden the wind just whips off the back of those trees and it's back at you. I think from a aesthetically pleasing standpoint, again, I think it's honestly the prettiest golf hole of all of them. I mean, 17 at Sawgrass is great and all, and the waves crashing onto 7 at Pebble are great. But when you look at the serenity of what that is and the train wreck that it can become on 12 at Augusta, I honestly think when you look at it and you say, this is literally between the azaleas and everything else around it, it's literally that good of a golf hole from start to finish.
So I actually think that 11's approach shot, the 12th hole, and the tee shot at 13 is the great corner right there. That Amen corner, for what it is,
Yeah.
It's that approach shot, the 12th hole itself, and the tee shot on 13 that can make or break your Masters right there. That's what I love about that area. Like, that's why it's phenomenal.
Well, again, when you look back at 1997, Tiger shot 40 on the front 9, chipped in for birdie on 12, then shot 30 on the back 9.
Yep.
And then went on to win by 12.
You know what? What I'll give you at for 12 at Augusta is, 12 at Augusta is going to look the same whether it is Masters Week or members going out to play. Whereas 17 at Sawgrass is going to look completely different. The hole is going to be the same, but the surroundings of it are going to be completely different when there's no stadium seating there. So I'll say this
about 17 at Sawgrass though, because of the mounding behind the green or behind the tee box, behind to the left of the hole as it goes down where the mounding is, even behind the green, there's some good mounding there. It's a pretty impressive. I will say this though, Augusta gets fortunate because they can make it that way for the members because they close all summer.
Yeah,
as a golf course, the course is closed all summer. TPC Sawgrass has to work on the golf course year round with the amount of rounds that they get at $900 a round.
So I want to ask you on the back nine here because I was just thinking about this, and we're talking about all these holes and how they connect and how the play comes in. Is 14 like the forgotten hole on all of this? Because when I think
No,
about the Masters and everything that comes in, you have 10 has been an iconic hole, 11
mhm,
to 12 to 13 obviously is what it is. Then there's
mhm.
14, but then you get to 15, then 16, 17, and 18, which is your
Yep.
finishing holes. I feel like 14 gets forgotten in all of this.
I think 17 is more forgettable than 14 because of the green on 14, where you can bounce it in there left when on that Sunday flag where it'll funnel back down to the hole, and there's a chance you've got a chance to make a 2 there because of where that flag sits. So
Yeah.
I honestly think that 14 falls in a better spot than 17 does, especially after, and I know they've put a tree in there to replace the Eisenhower tree, but after the Eisenhower tree was taken out after it died, I think that 14 actually falls in higher than 17 does.
Well, I think those two holes there, that's the tough part because I give
Yeah.
17 a nod just because the excitement that comes off of 16, I think, goes to
And
17. Tee box, at least.
and
I think
and
the
it's one
one
of
thing
those.
is you're not going to win the golf tournament on 14. Sorry, Dave. You're not going to win the golf tournament on 14, but you have that memory of Jack on 17 of yes, sir,
Yeah.
of Vern Lundquist's call there, and you can win the golf tournament on 17. You can't win the golf tournament on 14, and I'll give you that, Greg.
And like you look at Thursday, Friday coverage, 14 is not a very covered hole unless you're following a specific group.
Yeah.
It's not a featured hole that any CBS or ESPN cover. And so yeah, it just kind of slips through the way. Oh, you go through Amen Corner and let's rotate on back to the next group coming in on 11. And then let's catch up with these guys, coming off of 16 going to 17. So that it's just
Yeah.
because going into 17 right there, really great. You play that, across, but 14,
It's a great point. Let's give 14 some love this week. Let's have
yes.
something exciting happen on 14. All right. So I think
All right.
let's do smack of the week, and then let's get into odds because we really got to talk about our picks and go into that a little bit this week.
I'm going to start by saying if there was one person in this group that would ever do this, it would be Dave.
So I'm just gonna say I have never played off those
Yeah.
those boxes with a driver. It's always been on a pitch and putt course.
Yeah.
I've never played actual course where I need a driver to do that. But
Yeah.
all right, let's get into the last call. All right. This is it. This is the first major of the year. This is our picks. I am doing terribly this year. I couldn't even win the
Hammer
duck
time?
race. Hammer time. I mean, I like the idea. That might be next year. We implement a hammer. So
Yeah.
Dave, how did well, let's first recap last week. Obviously Brian Harmon winning.
I missed
Good
the
for
cut,
Brian.
and I stopped caring. No, I didn't.
Great for Brian Harmon.
Yeah.
Bobby, who I talked about, who came down from, he's the caddy at Bethpage, who came down to caddy
Yeah.
at Bay Hill this year, actually caddied in Brian Harmon's group. And I will say this about Brian Harmon. Bobby actually flew out because he had never been to San Antonio and he wanted to go to the golf tournament for some reason. And he went out there this week and walked up, and Brian looked at him and goes, "Hey, aren't you Bobby Loops?" So kudos to Brian for remembering that. And congrats to him on getting another win. And we didn't cover it on this show. Brian's son actually almost drowned in the ocean, and they had a family friend that rescued him in the ocean. and the woman that did that was just put in hospice last week. So our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to them, but kudos to Brian for getting the W on that and bringing light to that as well.
Yeah, we almost had our first double miscut last week. Gary Woodland, couple birdies coming down the back stretch there to make the cut for Greg, and Hideki did not have his best coming into the Masters, and Corey Connors finishes just outside the top 15 at 18.
Yeah, I was rooting for a couple birdies
first. It wouldn't have been our first double miscut
this year.
Okay, I was about to say you both missed the Masters 2 years.
Yes. So our current standings is Greg at a whopping 43, Steve at 73, and after taking my beating this week, I'm at 116.
Okay.
Well, let's get into odds with Dave.
Odds with Dave.
I gotta say, I used this rangefinder.
Yeah.
This week, and I gotta say, locks on to the target. Phenomenal.
It's so fast, isn't it, Greg?
It stabilizes. Like the cool thing is, like when your hand is a little bit shaky and stuff like that, like you'll see it just jerk and stabilize even before you're pressing anything. Like
if you've had a couple transfusions, all of a sudden you need that little extra help there. Or, obviously Nikon, the official rangefinder of the LPGA Tour and the Golfing Dads Tavern. But yes, no, if you're not using a Nikon rangefinder, I don't know why not, but that's just me.
Oh, it's great. I absolutely loved it this week. And I'll be using it the rest of the week too. So, all right, Dave, let's give us our odds.
So, lo and behold, Scotty leading the way at 4-1, Rory at 6.5. Then you got a surprise entry coming in at number 3 at John Rahm at 13-1 right now.
That's really a surprise. I mean, he won in 2023. Like he won 2 years ago.
I wouldn't have put him up. I wouldn't have made him the first live player, but that's just me.
I would have.
Morikawa and Xander at 18, Bryson at 20, Ludwig at 22, JT at 25, Brooks at 30, Hideki at 30, Jordan at 35. I remember the Orlando golfer said something about Davis Riley earlier, and he was way down the list. He is below Max Homa. So Davis Riley right now is 600-1 with 18-1 to be in the top 10.
Where's DJ?
I saw DJ was Billy Horschel, who's still celebrating a win at 150-1.
Where's Phil?
Phil is 110-1. Keegan's 90-1. Tony Finau 80. I did not see. Let me go to past champions here.
All right. Well, we did. While he's looking that up, we did a duck race.
Oh, DJ is 12-1.
12-1.
All the way
12-1.
Yeah, sorry. He is the top. He is one of the more on the live play. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
All right, we did a duck race to determine the order of our picks for the majors, as we always do, and unfortunately, Steve won. Steve, you got first pick. Who was your first pick?
The Grand Slam will be completed this weekend.
Yeah, I hate that you're picking him. That's why I actually believe it is going to win this week. So
that's who I was going to pick too.
The Grand Slam will be completed.
So you're going with the Roars. Dave, you got pick number 2.
You can lock that one too.
I know I talked to Bryson earlier. I'm talking myself out of it. I took this guy at the Players and I took him at the Century to start the year. Colin Morikawa.
Damn it, Dave. So that's who I was going to take after Rory was gone.
Yeah, great
So
minds
you've
think
just
alike here.
you have forced
Yeah,
my hand into Scotty. So I
into
can't
Scotty
go against
Scheffler, yes.
Scotty. I mean, he knows the course. This is his bread and butter. 2 out of the last 3. So I was going to take Morikawa. I think Morikawa has a good chance this week.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's
Hey,
our
all right,
picks.
what are the
I'll
chances?
stick with Scotty.
What are the chances Jordan gets a top 5 this week?
I think pretty
5
good.
to 1.
Yeah, I think
You're
pretty
pretty
good.
good
I
on
think
that?
Jordan gets a top 5. I think Jordan comes in.
Hey, Greg. Hey, Dave. Where's Shane this week? Lowry.
I had
That's
looked at
another
him
one I almost
earlier.
picked.
He is 45 to 1. He's 2.5 to 1 for a top 10.
Okay.
All right. Well, with that, I got to go to bed because I got to get up early tomorrow.
You got a car ride tomorrow morning?
I
Yeah.
do. Happy Masters Week, everybody.
Best of luck to you. Enjoy the course.
Enjoy it, Greg, tomorrow. Have
Will
fun.
do.
Greg, I don't know if you saw, by the way, did you see the text message I sent yesterday about the new caddy shirts that they have there at Augusta?
No, I did not. So
I sent.
I'll have to look.
They have a new T-shirt that is caddy bib inspired, with the number 25 as the number, and on the back it says the Masters on it.
That might be Ollie's birthday present. So
They have it
perfect.
for
Well,
32.
enjoy Masters Week, everybody.